I was just watching you speaking moments ago, and you talked about how, you had been traveling around the country and voters had the idea there was something up with China before the leaders did. I'm wondering, when did you realize that China was actually a threat under the Chinese Communist Party?
Well, I've always recognized China as a threat because communism is a threat wherever you find it. I don't know if Xi Jinping sits up and reads Das Kapital or the other works of Karl Marx, but there's no doubt that the Chinese Communist Party remains communist through and through. It's a one-party power structure. They will ruthlessly hold on to power. There's really no such thing as purely private enterprise in China. It is all state-controlled, sometimes directly state-supported or even owned. And of course, they brutally repress minorities and dissidents of all kinds. That's all the hallmarks of communism. I think that people around the country have for a long time, had a number of beefs with China, whether you look at factory workers whose jobs have been shipped overseas, or service members and their families, or veterans who worry about China's aggressive behavior towards our troops and our allies in the Western Pacific, or if you look at Christians or other religious minorities in China, or just human rights activists in the West who see the brutal repression of China's religious and ethnic minorities, the forced abortions. Now we see forced sterilizations as well, the gulags into which they put minorities for re-education. This is all before the pandemic, so China had very few friends out among normal Americans before the pandemic. Now maybe in Washington or maybe at the heights of business, they had people who saw it differently. But among normal Americans, there's very little love lost for China. And of course, that's just fallen even farther since China unleashed this plague on the world.